Right, welcome to episode 9 of the Shake, Rattle and Roll podcast. Here today with one of the top fighters at Shore MMA, the one and only Oban Elliott. Oban is the former Cage Warriors Academy Wales and West champion, the Cage Warriors Academy European Grand Prix champion, and he's currently 3-0 as a pro. Welcome, Oban. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm going to say I can't see you. You've disappeared.
I can see you clear as day. So
you're just a badge, SMME badge on mine.
If you click on it, it should bring me up.
There you are. Boom.
There we go. All right. Right. Thanks for joining us, bud. Tough times at the moment, obviously with this virus and the lockdown and everything else. How are you coping without being in the gym every night of the week?
Yeah, it is. I'm lucky. I'm still working, but yeah, it is a nightmare. You know, I'm doing all I can running wise, and I got a little shed, as you know, I can hit the bargain and stuff like that. But yeah, it is what it is. It's pretty shit, to be fair.
Usually we live with Rowan Crocker, and Lloyd. They're not with you at the moment. I believe they've gone back to their parents. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're isolating and alone. I was happy in mental health.
It's all right. Yeah. To be honest, all I'm doing now is just, as far as mental health goes, I'm all right. But all I do is watching fights. It's done me good. Like analysing fights and stuff like that. That's all I've done for the last, whenever it started, is watch old school boxing fights, MMA fights, and yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm coping probably better than when they were here, to be honest. Yeah.
They probably thought they couldn't stick a couple of months stuck in the house, so that's why they've gone back, isn't it?
Stick a couple of months with me, not a chance.
Right. What we will start, Oban, is where we always start with everybody. Let's go back to Oban Elliott, the child then. So what age did you get yourself involved in martial arts?
It was like, I mean, since I can honestly remember, since I was a baby kid, I've always been doing something like judo, but I done like judo for a bit. Like me and Lloyd done it. We were the only kids without the gis because we couldn't afford the gis, so we were just in our shorts and t-shirt. We done like gymnastics and popped up a boxing gym. We just constantly active kids, but we never played rugby or football like that as kids. But since I honestly can remember, yes, 5 years old.
What was your first serious martial art? Something that you was doing week in, week out, competing?
Kickboxing, freestyle kickboxing, taekwondo and kickboxing. That was my first competition sport. Yeah.
Were they in clubs over in Merthyr, or was that when?
No, it was up in Malvern where we moved. Yeah.
And where's more? That's up in Gloucester, yeah.
That's Worcester. But it's near. It's like 10 minutes away from Worcester, the city. Yeah.
Yeah. So kickboxing, taekwondo. You were competing at kickboxing as well, I'm guessing. Yeah. How many years? Yeah. How many years did you do that for?
From the age of 11 or I just turned 12, I think.
Up until when?
Up until I had my first amateur MMA fight, so six years of competition. Yeah, I was 18 when I had my first. I was so 7-8 years of fighting kickboxing.
Yeah. What club was you at? Oh.
It was called Malvern Martial Arts. But basically, what it was, when we first moved up there, my mother and father, whichever one of us would took us there. We went to a taekwondo school with this guy Julian Burton, and me and Lloyd, we didn't get on with like the traditional grading systems or anything like that. We were all just bored, running around like ADHD kids sort of thing. And we didn't stick at it very long. But then shortly after that, the same guy rang my mother up and said, are your two boys still interested in fighting? They were good, talented kids, but they were just a bit erratic. Because in like a taekwondo setting, everyone's lines up and they do like patterns. So I don't know if you...
Yeah, I know.
It is boring. It's never been my thing. And... So yeah, we were always just pissing about or fighting each other or whatever. So we just didn't get on in that setting. And he said he was opening a kickboxing gym separate to his taekwondo gym setup. And that was, I don't know when that was, but we obviously joined up there. And initially, I hated it. I couldn't stand it getting punched or kicked or anything like that. I couldn't stand it. Lloyd was always the one who got on fine. And then, initially I couldn't, because obviously you know what happened early on in my life with my dad. Lloyd seemed to take it on the chin, but I was such a I don't know, troubled kid growing up, and like my mother wouldn't trust me being left there. Do you know what I mean? She wouldn't want to leave me in case I had a meltdown or whatever.
Yeah.
So
that's understandable. I'll touch on your dad a bit later on, because there's a few things, if you don't mind, I wanna ask about.
Yeah, that's fine.
But just to cover the early, so till the 16. What was your introduction to MMA then? What was your first class? You know, where did you see it for the first time?
Yeah, it was. I seen it. God, the first time I watched, the first ever UFC I watched. My dad, obviously before he went, he had DVDs. It was UFC 44, UFC 40, Tito Ortiz versus Ken Shamrock. It might have been the first one, and that was my first introduction to it. And I thought, you know. Yeah. But it wasn't as exciting as fake wrestling, which I still thought was real. So I thought wrestling's better. But yeah, that was my first introduction to it. And with kickboxing, I always wanted to be a boxer. And when I went from the kickboxing gym, I outgrew the gym, and there was nowhere left for me to train with. So I went up to a boxing club up in the city in Worcester. You know, I'd save my money up and get the train. And it was I couldn't cope with the fact, because I've been so used to punching and kicking. I was in the ring boxing, and I thought, I couldn't really I was only young as well. I couldn't click. And there was a club, obviously, you know, Trojan Free Fighters.
Yeah. No, Paul, the instructor, they were.
It weren't Paul, it was Dan Richards.
One in Worcester, and they had they were affiliated. You had Trojan Worcester and Trojan Gloucester, I believe.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So I think that they had like an 8. I think it was. I don't know if my mum was lying or what, but I was only 14, 15 at the time, so I couldn't train there. So I went back to the kickboxing club I started out in. And then as I got older, I started to go up to this, and it was only twice a week going up there, but to try out a bit of grappling when I could afford it. It was £5 for the training, £5 for the class. Yeah. So it was only then when I could afford it, I'd go up there, and that was my first. As far as MMA concerned, mixing it together, that was my first. I was probably 16, something like that.
So how long was you up there with Dan?
It was on and off. So it was like I got up there, then I couldn't afford it, then I just stick to the kickboxing clubs, and I didn't. Dan was great. Dan got on brilliant, but I didn't fit in. It was weird. They didn't accept me in the club. The boys in the club didn't. I got on with Dan brilliant, but like Lloyd was dipping his toe in and out, and I didn't like going up there on my own. I'd rather stay in where I'd started out at my kickboxing club. So I weren't consistent going up there. But then it got to a point, it was in my last year of sixth form, and I thought I want to have an MMA fight before I go to uni. So I just went up there, just sort of begged him to just give me a fight, because I knew that, and Dan knew my brother and my mother quite well. So I begged him to give me a fight, and then I got on that Ultimate Impact card, July 2016. I think you had Shay on there. You might have had Shay on there. That's
right. Yeah, I think Shay fought. I think it was Jack Eglin. I think from Brad Scott's stream. Jack has gone on to become a really good prospect. He just had his it was a brilliant fight as well. It was back and forth quite a bit, wasn't it? But
I remember watching it. Yeah.
Jack won on the day, and I think who did you fight on there? Was that unified amateur rules or
it was I got there and they said we were wearing shins. It was only a 2-minute round. I thought, and I turned up. My mate Doyley gave me a lift to the weigh-ins, and I turned up 3 kilos overweight. I was using these like the analog scales. I'm back in the kickboxing days. It weren't a strict weigh-in because we were kids. It weren't bang on. You were in a couple of pounds. So I didn't really. I got there and I got on, and Paul Sutherland went, "Oh, you got to lose that." I went, "What?" So I took my shorts off, and he went, "Yeah, you're over." And I went, "What does that mean?" And he went, "Well, you're gonna have to lose it." And I went, "How am I gonna lose that now?" And he went, and he said, "Oh, there's a sauna on the back." I went, "What? You mad?" And then I was with Doyley there, and I went, "Oh, he planned to stay with me for the day, and I went, Doyle, you're gonna have to stick about. I'm gonna have to jump in this sauna. And he had all my bags and my kit like that. So then I went in and cut the weight in my tracksuit, come out covered in sweat, and then Doyle had gone. He left me up there. I've gone on a tangent there. I forgot what you originally asked, but yeah.
So did he win? Who was your opponent?
Nat Paul. He trained with Dave Matthews.
Oh yeah, Dave's another one I got a lot of time for. Good solid gym down here. When Craig White got in UFC, there was nobody happier in the UK than me, to be honest, because Dave's on the circuit, done all the grassroots shows, he's travelled, so it was great reward, not just for Craig, but for Dave, who's someone I consider a good friend, to see him get on that. Did he win?
Yeah, he won, yeah. It went
More importantly, did he make the weight? Did he cut the weight?
I got there eventually, yeah. I felt disgusting. I felt, I couldn't believe it. That was my first ever MMA fight. I cut 6 pounds on the day.
So you went to university, and then obviously you linked up with Jake and Tom down at Impact.
Yeah.
And that's when you probably started taking the MMA a bit more serious, was it?
Yeah, it was. Well, when I was with Dan, I was having a chat with Dan. I said, I'm going to university. I've got accepted into Bristol, UE Bristol. And he said, go and see Jake O'Hagan. And because they had a fight ages before. And obviously that's I figured out what gym was his and like emailed him and said, how much is the membership and that. And yeah, then I got there and I was on the bus there. It took like 45 minutes to get there from my uni, but I didn't want my uni. Because I've had a childhood dream since whenever. I didn't want to get to my age now and think, I could have been fighting in uni rather than drinking all the time. So I wanted to make sure I didn't give up on it and made the effort to do it.
Let me stop here. When you said you had a childhood, what age was you when you decided that MMA was what you wanted to do for a living?
With MMA, probably 12 years old.
Even that young, even though you just wanted to be a fighter and do it, whether it was boxing or whether it was MMA? Yeah.
Boxing. Initially, I wanted to be a boxer. But then once that was all I wanted to be. My first thing, I watched Rocky, and it was just like, obviously, because my dad would push us to put gloves on all the time. They hated that. I wanted to play football or rugby or whatever. But then I watched Rocky and I thought, 100%. I remember shadowboxing, didn't know what I was doing, but I 100%. I'm probably younger than 8, 9 years old when I decided I wanted to be like Rocky, like. Yeah. And then obviously you realise Rocky's not real, and then Muhammad Ali's your idol, and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you trained down with the guys at Impact for the entire time you were in uni, yeah?
Yeah.
And you were matched quite around. Was it 7-0 as an amateur then?
7-0, and then 2-0 pro with them as well.
Yeah, okay. So I want to touch on your dad if you don't mind. So obviously, I got to know you from you fighting on the Cage Warriors Academy shows, then eventually on the big shows. So I've known Jake a long time, and I could see you were a talented kid even back then. I'm always proud you'd always come out with the Welsh flag, and you'd always have your dad's name on there. So just for those people that don't know your background, do you want to explain what happened with your dad a little bit?
Yeah. Well, obviously we grew up as young kids in Merthyr, and before that we were moving all over the place. I think they moved house like 10 times. My mother and father did, back and forth everywhere to Gloucester and places everywhere. And we grew, and then there was like a last minute thing. We were moving up Worcester way, and me and my brother were like, and then within a couple of months we were gone. Within a month, we were gone. And then shortly after that, my dad took his own life up there. And then we were just like, what do we do now? We're up in the middle of nowhere. We don't know anyone. And he's gone. So, it's one of them, innit,
What was the impact like on, is you got 2 brothers?
Yeah.
What you got Lloyd, sorry, what's your third brother's name? Liam. And your mother, for you 3 boys and your mum, that must have been, well, I can't even begin to imagine what it must have been like for a young lad, How did your mother cope with that situation?
Obviously, she was, I can't remember, she was distraught, obviously. My nan and granddad actually moved in with us for a long time. But, it was just, as you can imagine, just a horrible experience. And obviously I've got an elder sister and a little sister, and now but that was before my mother and her new partner. So I've got another sister. I've got another sister with them. So they're all together on my father's kids is Lee, me, Lloyd, Liam, and Joanne. And yeah, you know, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I just could not. Yeah, it was horrendous.
Yeah, was you know, does your mum ever say on hindsight she could see he was suffering with depression, or you know, I'm sorry it sounds so personal, but did he leave any reasoning as to why he made that decision?
Yeah, he was bipolar. He was bipolar, and yeah, it's a case of it. We moved up there, and I think that I'm not sure what his thought process behind it was, because obviously then we're in the middle of nowhere and alone with your thoughts, and it just kind of, I think if we'd have stayed put, you know, it would have. It's one of them things. I don't know if we would have got through it or not, or what. But then again, I think maybe the history that Murphy's got, he wouldn't want to wanted his kids to grow up and, you know, maybe go near the drugs like a lot of people do, like probably he did himself. You know, like, you know, it's one of them places, and I think the way I like to see it is he didn't want to. Maybe he had that idea, he wanted to do that for a long time, and he didn't want to leave his kids in a setting where they might, you know, like a self-destructive setting, and maybe move us to, you know, a nicer place. Or do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I understand. And your dad was a well-respected boxer over in Merthyr, you know. Like I introduced you to the page the other week. There's just for the people watching, there's a Facebook page called Merthyr's Hardest Men, and don't ask me how, but I was invited onto that about bloody 4 years ago. I'm not even from Merthyr, but somebody had invited me on there, and you know, this was before I actually knew you well. And your dad's name was thrown about quite a bit, you know, when people would talk about old stories, his work as doorman, and talk about the old tough boxers over there. Your dad would come up on a regular basis, you know. So, did you ever watch your dad fight when he was alive, or were you too young to remember?
No, I've watched him since, but I watched him fight on the street when he was alive. It was one of the last memories. That was one of the last memories I've got of him. It was my birthday, and we were in a McDonald's up in Worcester, so it was literally just before he died, and this kid had kicked me in the nuts, whatever you want, you know, and then this dad came over, and then this kid's dad and obviously my dad got in an argument. They had a fight, and that was one of the last things I remember. Yeah.
Oh, your last words? My dad's harder than your dad.
yeah, one of them. Yeah, you know, that's. I can. The apple does not fall far from the tree. Is mad, because obviously.
So you because your brother's a boxer, isn't he, Liam, as well? Liam, so you, Lloyd and Liam, do you think you all got your competitive edge genetically from your dad? And
that's how similar we all are. It is mad. We just with 3 boys, and Liam's got a different mother as well. So it's 3 boys who've just got. We're just stamped with our father's traits, just ridiculously. It's weird.
He's put his stamp on you look-wise as well, you know. Photographs and old videos of your dad fighting. And you know, it's a mirror image, you know. There was one still I think you shared, or somebody had shared, and there was a still of your dad in the boxing ring and a still of you, and it was a bloody mirror image, you know.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Is your dad buried in Merthyr or up in?
No, he's in Merthyr, yeah. Yeah, in Kevin Cemetery,
yeah. You know, it's a long time ago, but that sort of situation is going to follow you around a long time. And you know, I just think it's lovely how you, as a tribute to your dad, every time you come out, you mention him, you bring him up, and I'm sure if he was still alive today, but he would love to be part of this journey with you. You know, I know. And I've had this conversation with you off camera where, in all probability, he'd be down the gym with us, and he'd be doing a bit of coaching on the boxing. And
yeah, he would. No, I think it's one of them. I think I've got everything happens for a reason, like whatever, you know. And I think maybe if he was here, I wouldn't have this drive I've got.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be a lot more of a. But obviously, with him missing, it's the only way of filling that void. And So yeah, but if he was here, I definitely think it would have saved him. Especially seeing what I'm doing now, he would have just had a full. It's one of them, innit, you know. But yeah.
Right. So obviously, let's get back onto your fight, and then so you've done your amateur career, won the European Grand Prix. How did that feel to be, you know, acknowledged as arguably the best European amateur fighter in your weight division in Europe?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it happened so quick, and that and when I won the academy belt were two of the best nights. I obviously probably gonna get top, like, especially for how I'd done it in a short space of time, and I went from in a year from being absolutely nobody to then winning that. It was just you know, it was complete. You know,
as a promoter and as a fan of MMA, because obviously you was training with the Impact guys when you won the Welsh belt.
Yeah.
That fight with Josh Hudson, and I've said this on record plenty, for me is the greatest amateur fight I've ever watched. It had everything. I mean, and hats off to Josh as well. It was one of those fights when, you know, the old saying, Al Pacino, you know, it's a game of inches.
Yeah.
That fight could have gone either way. It was the right decision at the end of the 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Because it was a 10-8. I think you scored a 10-8 because you nearly stopped him. Then he won 10-9, 10-9.
Yeah.
But in the overtime round, I think you just showed, for me as an outside looking in, a raw athleticism. Because without being disrespectful at all, your technique wasn't on point.
No.
But you had that will to win, that ability to get out of position. I think, how on earth has he got out of there? That, you know, he's done something there that's not something you would train a fighter. You know, you have that. And since we've been working together and training with each other, I've seen it more and more that you do have a raw athleticism that a lot of fighters would give anything to have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can't coach into a fighter.
No, I was just when you said that, then when I dropped the 2 rounds, because that, I think it was my second fight in the weight class ever, and I weighed in light, and all I did was train. I didn't actually know how to get up, and my grappling, as far as I've consistently grappling, I'd only been grappling a year at that time.
Yeah.
Black belt in judo, purple belt in jiu-jitsu, whatever he was. So going into the fight,
and with the best will of the world, Josh has probably got a higher level of grappling. What his belt, you know, he's got a purple belt based on time served. He can open with most black belts, Josh.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it was one of them. I got in there and I thought I've got to clean him out ASAP. And he took me down, and I thought, getting up, I remember it clear as day, it was like doing the heaviest squat of my life. I didn't have a technique to get up. It was just pure muscle out. And then in the second and third round, I was starting to tire, and his weight was bearing on me a lot. And then I was only 20 at the time. I didn't have the muscle, any kind of muscle I got now. So it was such an hard fight. But yeah, as you said, it was just fitness and athleticism, and just stubborn drive got me through that. It really did.
Is that your favourite fight to date?
Yeah, without a doubt. It was. I wish every fight could go like that. It was just because that's where I'm best when it gets tough in the trenches. I'm not a first round fighter. My rounds is sparring and my worst rounds, but the 3rd, 4th, 5th, they're my best rounds. I'm a in the trenches fighter. I don't understand why I've had so many first round finishes, because that's when I'm the worst. So it's by far my best. It's one of the atmosphere as well. It was brilliant, man.
Yeah, and even though Josh lost that fight that day, I think everybody had a respect for him, because there was no quitting him, and I mean, he could not have given any more in that fight. I think the two of you know, couldn't have put any more on it, and I was pleased to see him win the belt last year.
Yeah, I'm me.
Because he's a good guy, Josh. He's got a nice attitude. He's got a good approach. He carries himself well. Comes from a good gym, so. You know, it was a real good win on your, you know,
yeah, exactly. And
your record.
The way he's gone around smashing everyone, it just makes my win over him look better now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And obviously, then you had the European Grand Prix. You got your final. That was fantastic for you. And your time in university in Bristol came to end, and you moved back to Wales.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that's when I've been lumbered with it. So I got to prep with you on a daily basis. I mean, what How has it been for you training with our guys? You know,
It's been. I just no disrespect to the Bad Boys. I wish I could have somehow, if the wires crossed and I could have got there soon. I would have. I really. It's just you can't. Nothing you can do. No money you'll ever pay when you're on the same wavelength as someone else. That's head and shoulders above anything. And obviously with you, like, it's like I've been there. It feels like I've been there years. I can't believe it. I've not even been there a year yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, you can't. It's just having that chemistry as a team, and out there, the way I've improved, just being in that happy mindset all the time. It's unbelievable. I think we have the best gym in the world, in my opinion. I don't care anyone in America, anyone in wherever they are. We've got the best team, got the best setup in the world. I don't care who they are.
I think what helps for somebody like yourself, 22 you are now, yeah?
Yeah.
There's lots of lads similar age, similar likes and dislikes as you, similar social interactions, and I say this to everybody, and I sound like a bloody broken record with it, but we're not just a place where you come and train martial arts.
No.
We're very similar. The mentality, like a rugby or football team, where we're
that's what I tell the boys. Yeah.
And I've always had the saying. I used to have it on. I'll have to get it done again because I had like a little poster up the old gym, and it said, "We fight as individuals, but we prepare as a team."
Yeah.
And I think, and I've said this in other interviews, we come together. It doesn't matter who's fighting. You might have a fight this week, but if Jack's got a fight in 2 weeks, you're back in the gym Monday and helping Jack, and vice versa. And I just think it's everything. It's the coaching, the training, the premises, the facility, but more importantly, I think it's the camaraderie amongst the boys. And I think, and you're fortunate you've come to a gym where we got 3 lads in the UFC, so it gives you that opportunity thinking, there's a road here, there's a blueprint for me to achieve my dreams.
Exactly, yeah, and you're bang on there, and I know the level as well of where I need to be and where I'm lacking and where I'm succeeding, and as you say, but I wouldn't put all of that aside. If we had none of the boys in the UFC, if it was grassroots up, and I had you and Carl in my corner, I think when you're on the same wavelength as someone, it's like Tyson and Cuss. When you're on the same, it's just boom, spark.
Yeah.
It's an instant. When you have that with someone, you can't. There's no amount of money, no amount anything will replace that.
The thing I always say is this, right? Is that people say to me in interviews, "Who's the best coach in the world?" And I say, "There's no best coach in the world. There's a best coach in the world for you." Now, as you've just said, it's there's people you've come on board with us, and you've got a great relationship with me. You've got a great relationship with Carl. We feed off each other. You're in a really good place. But there's other guys that'll come, and they maybe the personality or something about them I don't like, or something about me they won't like, and the mix, the fit is not there.
Yeah.
So this is why I never ever take offense. If somebody leaves our gym and goes and trains somewhere else, they have my best wishes. There's never no animosity, and they're always welcome to come back and have a session, because it's life. If we were all bloody robots, it'd be a boring old world.
Yeah, exactly.
And the old saying, some personalities will clash.
Yeah, 100%. I've been through that myself.
I know I can be a pain in the ass. Where, in fight camp, as I'm on it. There's certain things we got to be doing a certain way. Yeah. I'm OCD about the preparation, about letting me know if you can't make training.
Yeah.
For some people, that's too intense. So they'd rather go off and float around and have a bit of a relaxed atmosphere, train a bit here, train a bit there. Yeah. But that's what suits them. But I just think that, we've got a great gym, as much as we've got top level fighters like yourself, Marshall and Brett, Jack.
Yeah.
We've got a fantastic group of novice pros. We've got a fantastic group of experienced pros, Josh Reed, Chris Edwards. We've got a bunch of amateurs coming through who are going to be killers. But at the same time, on a Monday and a Wednesday, we got 60, 70 BJJ guys that are just to have a bit of fitness and a bit of...
Exactly.
And they're all on that mat together, and everybody's on first name terms, and everybody gets on.
And not one boy who's a top fighter talks to anybody any different. Everyone gets treated the same. If a complete, absolute stranger walks through the door, everyone gets a pat on the back. Everybody gets treated like a friend, and that's important. No, there's no egos. There's none of that click. There's not a clicky environment.
Click's a good word, because when I was a fighter, I used to find that some of the gyms I trained at, there would be cliques, and it causes bad feeling. And that's why quite often I'll say to Carl, right, I'll go and train all the casuals today, you go and look after the pro team. So that them casual teams can't ever go, oh, Shakey's head coach, but all he does is look after the pro.
Exactly, yeah. So no, that's the difference. So that's why, honestly, and I've trained in a fair few gyms that it is, and anybody who ever sets foot in the gym says the same thing. You know, there's no secret about it. You know. Yeah,
I think we're doing things the right way, and it'll be interesting to see where we all are in 24 months. It'll be
I'd want to be in the UFC then, 100%.
And I don't think so. Let's go back to your career. You're 3-0 as a pro, all stoppages.
Yeah.
So you beat Brett Hassett. You beat the Greek guy.
French he was, I think.
French, sorry, yeah.
Boali, Skikin, one of them.
You beat him. Then obviously James Lilly after loads of pullouts and messing around.
Yeah.
Then you've hit a bloody brick wall, because this year then, you know, we've had plans to get you 4 fights, and a week before you do the fight, the coronavirus strikes, and everything's off. You know, and you know, the reality is, Oban, it could be that this year nobody fights. You know, we really don't know. So how has that affected your mindset? You know, because you probably had in your mind at the end of 2020, I'm going to be 7-0 and pushing for a world title shout.
Yeah. All it's done for me is it's just concrete. It's concrete in my head how head and shoulders above everybody else I hand on heart believe I am. That's all it's done for me. In this time off, I'm running, and it just does not. There's not a man on this planet I am bothered about fighting. From Khabib Nurmagomedov to Brett Hassett, who I had in my first fight. There's not a man in the world I am fazed by. They're all human beings. That's all this. I think without this break, I wouldn't. There's not, because getting especially people patting on the back, a sponsor will come on board, and you start to think, you start to think, oh, this is because, you know, the fighters I've just stripped. For me, this is just stripped it all back to when I was 12, 13, and I couldn't afford to go to a gym.
Yeah.
Or I could only afford to go to the gym once, twice a week. So all it's done for me is just concrete that mindset again in me, as if I'm a complete novice again in this time, because this is alien to me. I've never not been in a gym day in, day out in my whole life, like, you know.
It also makes you appreciate what you've got a little bit more, because, you know, it's human nature. We take things for granted. Yeah, just rock home from work, pop to the gym, or something. Right, them nights where maybe you think, oh, I'm not going to go training today. 100% people will be turning up now. You know?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, now. You know?
Yeah. And when opportunities come to compete, I think people will be jumping on that. Not just for the MMA. I think on the BJJ and the grappling as well. I think that'll be a key thing.
Yeah.
The one thing for me, you've always had a reputation, and that comes from your history in kickboxing as a good striker. But one thing I think, since you've been working with us regular, I think people are going to be shocked at your level of grappling and wrestling. You know, I've been doing this job a long time. I've been involved in MMA since 2001. You know, it was 20 years coming up.
Yeah.
And you're one of those guys that I've never seen somebody so quickly grasp something and learn something, you know.
Yeah.
I remember when you first came, and I'll say it, you couldn't wrestle for shit. You know, you'd get taken down in the sessions when you come and visit, when you were still up in Bristol, and you know, you get put on your back regular, probably get subbed a few times. Now I'd probably say, along with our Jack, you're probably the 2 top wrestlers in the gym, technically. Not just your athleticism, technically, where you know what, Andra, you know, hit that double, you know, hit that switch to a thing, you know, wrestle on the wall, defend on the wall. And obviously I've seen, you know, massive improvements, not just in your wrestling, but your pure grappling as well, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you're pulling off twisters just before we finished this coronavirus. But is that something you've always been very capable of picking things up quickly?
I was just about to say, that's it. Well, growing up, I played for Worcestershire County. I could have gone towards playing for. Well, I say I could have gone if I had stuck at it. I could have gone down the route of a professional rugby player. But I hated the environment of. It all comes down to the environment you're in, and I hated who I was in the county team. I really hated all the private school posh boys. I stuck out like a sore thumb. I just hated being there, so I gave that up really. But yeah, I've been pretty good sporty wise since I can remember. So yeah, since I can remember, I've always picking stuff up. I think
You're what I call a natural athlete, and not everybody's blessed with that attribute. So, never ever take it for granted. I mean, somebody can come in through the door and you can coach them grappling, you can coach them striking, you can coach them some wrestling. It's difficult to coach somebody's mindset, which you've got a really, really strong mindset. Yeah. And athleticism. I mean, I see it with you. I tell you another one, Owen Parry. Just an athleticism where he does things you think, well, I couldn't even coach somebody that, It'd be no good saying, right, watch what Oban and what Owen are doing with there, because your average Joe is never going to be able to twist and react in that way. We had a guy called Dane Morgan, who was another one, absolute physical savage. I don't think you've ever met Dane.
No, I don't think I have.
But, Dane for me would have had potential if he'd applied himself like you to go a long way in the sport, So athleticism is something that people shouldn't take for granted, and
I know, and that's the thing. I think it's weird in my fights because my athleticism isn't shown in the first 2 minutes of a fight because everyone's fresh, everyone's fit for 2 minutes, but before you know it, they're done. So it's one of I just can't. As soon as I hit that second and third round, people are gonna literally be gobsmacked. I think they really are.
I mean, let's go back to where we're gonna go with you then. So you would booked in to fight Sean Luther.
Yeah.
How do you think that would have gone? He'd just come off a really good win with Martin McDonough, who's an experienced pro, but on hindsight, I think Martin came up the weights. He's a natural bantamweight, Martin.
Yeah. Exactly.
So how do you think you match up with Sean?
I think I would have cleaned him out in a round, honestly. But then again, if I didn't, I'd have had the tools to sort him out over the 3 rounds. But if I had a 10 and I was going to put it on the most likely result, I think I'd have cleaned him out in a round, honestly.
Sean's one of these as well. He's a good, durable fighter. He comes from a good camp. He's quite well rounded. He's won by knockout against Martin. I've seen him have some good wins. Mason, who's a current Cage Warriors champ, he had a good 3-round. Very good competitive fight. So I think once this is all over, we have to do Sean the credit of offering him the
definitely. It makes.
Without looking past Sean, what are you looking for next? You get the win against Sean if he takes a fight after this lockdown. What's next for you?
I had a couple of names planned in my head, but to be honest, especially with this lockdown, it's kind of taught me. It's taught me it doesn't really matter, especially in the division I'm in. It doesn't matter who I'm fighting because I've called out the same names over and over again. I'm not one of them have come back and say, I'll take the fight.
Is it anyone that you haven't called out?
I don't think there is.
Let me tell you something though from a manager's perspective, right? Yeah. And I've said this to everybody. I would have no concerns about dropping you in with any of the top 5 fighters in Europe. I genuinely believe, even now at 22 and 3-0, you're capable of beating anybody in that top 5.
I think I'd clean them out.
But the problem is, in MMA, there's a process, and you're never going to get away from that. So, at 3-0, if you're Paddy Pimblett, Jai Herbert, Mason Jones, are you going to take on this dangerous young upstart who's very vocal, everybody's talking about, but he's only got a 3-0 record? They've got nothing at all to win. If they beat you, if they win, they go. The crowd are going to go, well, he was only 3-0. Shaky shouldn't have put him in there. It's too much too soon. Yeah. Yet the advantages for you taking the fight far outweigh anything with them. So this is why you've got to put. And we've had this conversation off camera, haven't we? Where it's about getting. I think you're probably 2 fights away from being able to call out who you want. Yeah,
I think so as well. It's one of them, and the thing is 3-0 as well. It doesn't. The way you got to look at it is, if I was you stick 10 fights on it, it doesn't really matter then. But obviously, if I'm 13-0 and say he's 15-0 or 19-0 or 20-0, then you're like, they've got a lot of fights behind them. But 3-0 is very early doors, isn't it? But saying that, I could beat them now. So I know for a fact that I'd beat them now. So it wouldn't be, to me, it's not a case of, and I'd be dead set on, and I am honest without. There was one fighter in the division, I thought he'd have a good job. I'd have a very tough night against. He could knock me out. I could maybe get him one, is Jai Herbert. And then as soon as he got signed to the UFC, I went to find out for myself. I went to spar him. So there was my one concern out the entire division in cage-wise, and I've gone and found out for myself. So now, hand on heart, it don't bother me. I know I'm not going to get the certain fights, but if everyone goes around saying anyone, anywhere, anytime, but I'm not obviously included on that list, then you know what I mean. It's a bit like, well. But
again, it goes back to this exactly how you're speaking now. You've got that self-confidence, you've got that natural ability. You work hard. You're a dangerous fight. You're a dangerous fight for anybody in the division. And on 3-0, you're too much of a gamble.
Yeah.
I think at 5-0, particularly if you're fit, like I've said this to you, a fight I'd like you to have for your 5th fight if you get through Sean Luther. And we're not looking back at way or form. Is Desmay. Desmay is a good gatekeeper fighter. He's capable of beating anybody. And it's a fight where I'm confident you win as well. So I think once you've got that sort of win, a Desmay, I tell you another one would be a great fight for you. I think style-wise is Jakobsen. Jakobsen has fought for a world title. Desmay has been knocking on the door for a while. He's gone the distance with Mason. He's had some good wins. I think if you stop Desmay, it backs our man Ian Dean into a corner where he's got to find you a top 5 fighter then.
Exactly, yeah. I think, you hit the nail on the head there. Obviously, I don't think I'm getting the certain fights when I want them, like the Desmay now, but it does boil down to, I don't know who he's going to fight. And then, if you look at, say, the top 5 in the division, it's like, I don't know who they're going to fight, but they're not running from me. I don't think for one second anyone's scared of me. I've never.
Listen, if I was their coaches and Ian Dean came to me, say I was coaching Paddy or Jay or Mason, and Ian Dean phones me up and says, "I've got this Oban Elliott. You got no chance. It's too much." I'm being blunt. You're too much of a risky fight at 3-0.
Yeah, definitely. I think
6-0. And at the end of the day, you're a 22-year-old lad. Enjoy your apprenticeship.
Yeah, exactly. But that's
when that big course comes, you want to be able to look around like our Jack, like Marshman, and say, like Brett, I've done my apprenticeship. People can't say I've had an easy route into there. But I don't think you can damn it. I think 5-6 fights, you can get that world title shot. And I can't see any reason 8-9-0 you're not getting signed.
Exactly, but that's what I was going to go on and say is all this break has taught me is it literally doesn't matter who I fight along the way, because I don't think Dana White's going to look at my record and see any difference between Sean Luther and Donovan Desmay. He's not going to know either of them, is it? Do you know what I mean? Along the way, it doesn't make a blindest bit of difference to me. I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at Khabib. I'm not looking at these boys and thinking, I need to figure out a way to beat him. I'm playing in my head all day. I'm going to eventually beat Khabib. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not looking at this little. I don't care about being a little fish in a big fish in a little pond sort of thing. I don't care that. Then it doesn't matter who they give me along this way. You walk around here now. If I get a fight in Cardiff, right? Nobody knows who Donovan Desmay is. Nobody knows who Sean Luther is. Nobody knows who Joe McColgan is. Nobody knows who they are. So why is that a big fight compared to somebody else they don't know? Nobody knows who they are anyway. I'm a bigger fight. I'm a bigger name than these boys I'm calling out are. That's all it's taught me. So to me, it doesn't make the blindest bit of difference at all who I fight along the way now, because I know where I'm going at the end of it. And yeah, as I said, I'm literally you can call me mad, but Tyson Fury was 3-0 once when Klitschko was the world champion, and then look what happened there. So I'm looking at Khabib. Sounds mad, but I'm thinking, how am I going to beat them? Do you know what I mean?
That mindset and that approach, Oban, is what sets a good fighter from a great fighter.
Exactly.
You've got to have that set. I say to everybody, there's a mix. You've got to have somebody who's willing to learn.
Yeah.
You've got to have somebody who's willing to get off their ass and come to the gym in the middle of November when it's hammering down with rain and it's -3 outside and they've just done a tough 10-hour shift. They've got to be willing to push themselves to the limit. They've got to be willing to take criticism. They've got to be willing to take on advice. But more importantly, they've got to have that mindset of they were willing to sacrifice everything to get to that final goal. And I think you've got that in abundance. And,
exactly.
And I think people have seen that off you with your performances. But you know what? Let's put the fighting aside. You're also very, very good with your tongue. You know, you've got a good reputation now of you're sharp on that microphone when you're interviewed straight after.
Yeah.
Social media, you know, you've picked a fight with everybody in the division on social media.
Yeah.
You're very. Have you always been that way? Has that been a trait? Who's very young kid? Somebody just says what's on their mind.
I get like a Facebook memory come up where I've arranged a fight at lunchtime with, say, Zach Moore, and I've gone and I put like a big paragraph on who's on whose side and how I'm gonna beat this fat kid. Or it would be like 50 comments. Oh, you can't say this. I've been trying to pick because it comes down to I've been a fan and wanted to do this. And Muhammad Ali was my first. There was motivation videos where he's like, he'd rattle off like, I've wrestled with an alligator, tussled with a whale, anger, lightning, thunder in jail, all that. So I've listened to all that. So to me, any chance I got where I could be in this not a persona, where I could sell a fight, I could have a fight, I could make a fight bigger. If nobody on the playground knows about a fight, and I've gone filled someone in behind the sheds, but I can't come back. I can't come back on the playground. You know what I mean? Everyone's got to know about the fight. Then they fill in on the sheds, and then my stock goes up. I've been in the game long enough. I'm 22 years old, but trust me, since I could use my fists in a certain way, I've been doing this for years. It's not this is something I've not been any different. If I'm on a night out and someone's giving it the big one, I'll sell a fight in the pub. That's just what I've done since I can remember. You know what I mean? So there's no acting or anything like that. It's just I've never been any different. It's not. I wouldn't disgrace anybody who knows me by putting an act on because I know I've got to face them.
No, I
never do that.
I say to everybody, it's so natural. You know, I spoke to Paddy a couple of weeks back, and he said, you know, look at Oban, the social media presence. Yeah. You know, brilliant. He's brilliant on that mic. He's sharp. He's 3-0, and you're probably one of the the most known fighters now in not just the division, in Cage Warriors.
It's crazy, isn't it? To me that's. But then again, I haven't gone out and I don't expect any other outcome. What people don't understand is it's like I've only 3 fights in, but all of a sudden I know more about the fight game than everybody who's ahead of me. You know what I mean? It's a cutthroat business. Every man for himself. There's only one at the top of the heap. So why are you going to let other people be in that spot? That's not how it works. Where I've got one fight, I'm going to say I'm going to be there. And then when I get there, I can be like, I told you so. That's how it is in the fight game. It's not... Everyone's going on shaking everybody's hand, but unless you're in the gym with these boys, they're probably against you. That's how it is.
I think our whole team has got that mindset, haven't we? You know, you're either with us or against us. You know,
exactly, 100%. Yeah.
As a coach, I'm very tribal. You know, and I get criticised for it sometimes. You know, where people say about people talk about training at other gyms and all the rest of it, and in some way, you know, don't get me wrong, if you or Jack had an opportunity to go out and train with Khabib for 2 weeks, yeah, it's great. It's an experience, but you go in and you're doing it as an experience, as you said, see where your levels are at.
Yeah.
But on domestic soil, it's difficult because we might invite somebody in to train, and 6 months later, that might be your opponent. So, you know, and we are very, very fortunate. We've got a big squad of pros, big squad of amateurs, all around the same sort of weight division.
Yeah.
There's no need for us to invite people in. We're not desperate to bring in people for sparring. We don't need to bring people in. You know, we're probably one of the most fortunate teams in the UK, in as much as we've got that team under one roof where we can accommodate all our pro team.
Exactly. You know, you pull different people in, even people who aren't fighters. You can pull like Big Law, for example.
Yeah.
If I'm working on, or Ryan Marshall, people who, you know, they're not even known, but they help me a lot in my fight camp.
Yeah.
I'd like, you know, come on leaps and bounds because of people who's nobody's even heard of. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's. I think. Well, but then as far as cross training goes, I think it's not a bad thing at all, as you just said. but we don't have a necessity to do it, do we?
Yeah.
There's not a case you don't need to go there. Like I went up to spar Jai purely just because I thought he was the champion. And as soon as he got signed, I thought I always wanted to spar him. So I literally I was sat with Tank in the car. We were going to do the Weekend Defender photo shoot thing. I was like, okay, I'll ask him. Text him. And he went, yeah, come up Saturday. And I text you, can I go up to spar Jai? And then that was it. No politics, no bollocks, and we were right there. But
again, that's a great learning experience for you. You know,
exactly.
You know, I always we had Jai on the podcast last week.
Yeah, he's a machine.
And he's somebody that you can't. I think he carries himself well. He's never disrespectful. He trains hard. He turns up, and he's like you said, he's a dangerous fight for anybody in the division. You know, so it's great for you to go and have that opportunity to see where you're at against somebody that's a world champion and that's just been signed for the UFC. You know,
exactly. Yeah, and he's you know, Jai's a prime example. Like I'm just being myself the way I carry myself. I'm not that. This is who I am. I'm not. Again, it comes down to being yourself, and I've always been I'm not brash. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to call it. I'm just myself. I wouldn't know how to describe myself. But then Jai is himself.
Confident.
Yeah, I suppose confident. But then Jai is himself. If he sit there and he's not going off saying this, that, the other. That's how he is, and you can see that as soon as you meet him. There's no bollocks with him. He's a top man. You know, I consider him a friend, even. You know.
Yeah. Again, we're talking gutted for him with this virus for the lockdown, and he's a week from his UFC debut. You know, he's bad enough you fighting on a cage warriors event, but your UFC debut, imagine having to deal with that. So, how many fights ideally would you like before you get that world title shot?
In Cage Warriors?
Yeah.
Well, how many would I like? However many you tell me I've got to have, because I do it tomorrow.
For me, like I said, 5-6 fights. I think you need to get that shot because, again, Cage Warriors are not daft. They are going to get criticism for giving somebody this 4-0 a title shot.
Yeah.
You know, they'll come under criticism saying,
I've got to be 5-6-0 probably, is it?
I think so.
Right,
just based, and again, it'll be, you know, you sell it based on. I think your first 3 fights have been picked really good. You've had an international opponent. You know, James stepped in last minute, and that's off to James Warrior. You know, fight. And a dangerous fight. You know, he's a bare knuckle boxer. He's got a good. I think he's fought pro boxing. He's a man on the feet. So it was a dangerous fight for you to take. Sean Luther, I think, is the perfect next level because he's in there with the likes of Mason Jones and Martin McDonough that are much more experienced than you as far as pro's concerned. And then somebody like Desmay or Jakobsen, I think, then tells the world, the lad is now ready for a top fight, and maybe one top 5 and a title fight.
And I'd like to get the minutes in as well. Like I said earlier, I'm a second and third round fighter. That's when I'm better. When I've had a sweat on, I've had a little workout to warm up. So I'd like to get the minutes in. If I fought Luther, I'd probably drag it into the second and third on purpose, just to have a bit of, you know, hey, it's fighting, you could chin me and it'd be done in 30 seconds. So I'm not that arrogant before anyone thinks that. But I would take my time with Luther. I take my time just to get the minutes in. Going in and cleaning someone out, it's all well and good, but that's not. No, I say this to everyone. Like Hudson, you saw me fight. Everybody else, you see me beat them up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You haven't seen me fight. You've seen me beat people up. There's 2 different things there. I think.
And as with anything, as talented as you are, the apprenticeship needs to be there because it's like some people take to driving. You can get behind the wheel of a car and you can drive, but it's having them miles on the road.
Exactly.
You know, for example, we turned the UFC down on 3 separate occasions with Jack.
You know,
he was the same as you, 3-0.
Yeah.
And was offered a 4-fight deal.
I don't know. I'd have to take that. Like.
But I think if we'd have took it then, because again, let's go back to physical and natural athleticism. He wasn't as physically developed as you at 21 years of age, 20 years of age. And I think he'd have probably gone into the UFC too much too soon. 2 losses. He'd been 3-2. Is he going to get back in? It's probably 10, 15 fights before he has a chance.
Yeah, good shout.
So, he's then beaten Vaughan Lee, and that was a real good test for him. Ex-UFC vet. Again, about bringing it up, having, you know, 3 rounds with Vaughan, for me, I think that was one of his best performances.
I watched that. I watched that.
It's the only fight he hasn't stopped, but he showed everything. He showed good wrestling, offensively, defensively, good striking, good grappling off his back, good grappling on top. After that fight, he broke his hand in the second round, so the UFC kept calling again.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and it just wasn't the right, it wasn't like a formal user contract. It was come at a chat. It was like, listen, his hand's broke. He can't do anything for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It's the wrong time. It's not going to give us enough time to prepare. So we pushed that back. Then he beat Ekendayo.
Yeah.
And I was in London with Marshman when he fought Phillips.
Yeah.
And they approached again. And so Graham's rung me and said, look, I got a meeting tomorrow. They've asked. And I said, well, for me, I want him to defend the title first. Because if you like yourself, it's not about if you're going to get there, it's when.
Exactly. That's
right?
it for me now.
So,
I don't care what happens. I'm not.
For me, what Jack has had in his apprenticeship is 3 fights. Is it 3? Yeah, 3 fights main event in the ice arena in front of 4,500 people.
Yeah.
And all eyes are on you. When all, at the moment for you, you're still not quite at the main event point of a big show. When you've got to hang about all day, it's experiences you can't. I say this, and I said this. It's an experience that you can't get anywhere else other than being in that position.
Exactly.
So to be the last fight on, with 4,000 people shouting, and everyone in that arena is waiting for you to win. You're the guy that everybody's come to see.
Yeah.
Then you have a little bit of an understanding of what real pressure is, and you've got that mentality. You take it in your stride, but you still can't ignore the fact that's great experience. So when you go to the UFC, when we walked out in Copenhagen, it felt no different to walking out in that ice arena. The feeling. The only thing different, it was Bruce Buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goddard's in the cage reffing, same as he is in.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why I think to me it's not a thing.
And Oban as well. When you're main event in these cage warriors cards, there's a lot of social media detail. There's videos to be done.
Yeah.
Lot of media duties that you've got to follow. And again, it's great preparation for when you get into that big show. Definitely. I mean, now, if we throw you in at 3-0, you've got all the fighting capability, but how would you cope with being in front of 10,000 people? How would you cope with having to do videos, being pulled out your hotel room? You've got to go and do this interview. Right. Yeah. Be in the room for it just gives you a good grounding to prepare you for it, is what I think. So I think it's all about taking the opportunity when it's right for you, when it's right for us, not when it's right for them, because the UFC is a money-making machine. They're in it for them. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about Jack. They don't care about. So as long as they're making money, the minute you're not an asset to them, you'll be gone.
Yeah.
We talked about Dave Matthews earlier. Look what they've done with Craig White. Craig White stepped in.
Fed to the dogs.
17 days notice. Saved the London card when he fought Neil Magny.
Yeah.
Give a really good account of himself. Then they put him in with Diego Sanchez and helped him fight the Hall of Famer. Lost the decision, and they cut him after 2 fights.
Yeah, so that is unfortunate.
I think he deserved that 3rd fight, Craig. He'd done it. He'd done his apprenticeship. He'd had like 17 full bouts for your sign. So
and exactly, and now he's on the cage warrior scene, and it's tough for him now. Exactly.
Of course it is. You don't want to go there and come back. No. When you go there, you've got to be thinking, I'm there now for as long as I want until I retire.
Yeah, that's why to me it doesn't that's and I say whenever the lockdown happened, I was get me in the UFC, and now I've come in my own head now where I think, you know what, I don't care how long this takes because I know what the crack is. I know what's happening. Do you know what I mean?
In 24 months, you'll be 24 years of age. Your body will have developed physically even more for 2 years, right? Because you're still a young man. You're 22. Your body is still developing. You'll have had more cage experience. You'll have more training. Your technique will be much better.
Exactly.
You'll have experienced all these bright lights, the interviews, the media duties.
This has let my body recover as well. I'm a whatever for injuries, and I've always got one.
And always aim for that Cage Warriors world title because you're a world champion.
Exactly.
And if you do nothing else, no one will ever take it away from you.
Exactly. I'd never get to the belt and sort of be like, it would be an absolute, just like when I won the Academy belt, it could have been a UFC bout to me. I was absolutely buzzing for the rest of the year. It didn't even. I was just. I say if it's not an if at all. With the Cage Warriors bout. I'll cherish that night for the rest of my life. Whatever happens.
Brilliant. Right, let's have some questions then that was sent in. Who's your favourite fighter at the moment?
In MMA, obviously.
MMA, yeah.
It's tough. It is tough. I like Khabib. He's just a ruthless, and he's real. There's nothing. I can't say McGregor because we don't know what's going on with him. We don't know. I think Khabib would probably be the same off camera as he is on. And
I agree.
And the animosity he had for McGregor was real. He didn't, after the fight, he still wanted to hit him.
Yeah.
Whereas McGregor, he's a machine. He's hard. I think Khabib.
Yeah, same with me. Khabib's my favourite. I know your next answer. Who's your favourite fighter of all time?
Chael Sonnen.
Never.
Yeah.
I think the people watching this are going to be shocked at that.
Why? No, he's the man, Chael. I've got him. When I was about whatever age it was when he was coming up against Anderson. He was the man. Because he was the first person, as I said before, I love my wrestling. I love Muhammad Ali. And he was the first person in MMA who was like a mixture of like a pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Twang. Ali's rhyming at people, and I just thought, if he wins this belt now, and he's a gangster as well, do you know what I mean? He's
and a lot of the things he used to say about being a gangster and where he's from quite a well-to-do neighborhood.
It's a really good area.
Yeah, and if you've seen the things I'd seen, somebody threw litter on the floor. It's so tongue-in-cheek.
I know.
It was brilliant. And I remember my favourite ever one was when they interviewed him when Anderson Silva was watching, when he goes, Anderson Silva, you suck.
You absolutely suck.
If I beat you, you leave the division.
If you beat me, I'll leave the division.
And he throws the mic and walks out. I remember watching a documentary on him, and he said, he was like giving advice to young fighters, and he says, when they give you that microphone, that is make or break for you. Don't go, when they say to you, who would you like to fight next? Don't go, whoever Dana says, because Dana's not thinking, well, who am I going to pick for this guy? He doesn't know who you are.
Yeah.
We're out there. Be recognisable. Be remembered on that night for what you said on the mic.
Exactly.
And believe it or not, at the time, he was the highest paid fighter in the UFC, and he was not champion.
He was the man.
Highest paid fighter because he did more pay-per-views, or because he could, as you said, sell a fight. He was recognisable, and let's not get away. He could fight, mind.
He's a machine.
He fought an absolute who's who, absolute top level fight, and back in the days, mind, when they were no USADA.
Yeah,
they
was juiced to the girls, but so was everyone else.
Yeah,
honestly, I think Chael, and the way he went about it, and he helped me a lot with my mindset. And the thing is, as well, I loved him, but there was always that thing, we don't want to fight him, But you've got to be anyone, anywhere, anytime, and you have to stick to that. If you said it to me before, it was in the amateurs. A couple of fights got offered to me. Josh Hudson, fuck. That's what my reaction was. Do it, let's have it, and I'm gonna, you know what I mean. You've got to just flip it on and believe 100%. Yeah. But you got them fights where you go, do I want to take? That's an hard fight. But you've got to fight them all. That's the number one rule. All the best, all the greatest fought them all. They called them out and they fought them all.
I think it's all down to aspirations, because if you've got aspirations of being the best in the world, you've got to fight these guys sometime or other.
Exactly.
So let's see where we're at with it. But Chael Sonnen again. What did you watch Chael, or was you too young when Chael was head coach on The Ultimate Fighter?
Against John Jones? Vanderlei.
No, before the Vanderlei. It was...
watch that, yeah.
Yeah. He said something about environment, and he said... people can fight, but they can't manage the environment. So he was saying, like, some guys, he'll fight in the training room, and there's no pressure, and they're the best.
I know what you're going to say. And then you walk across that, yeah.
And then he puts him in a cage, and you've got all the, and he said, what's changed? The environment. And he says about the 4x2, and he put a piece of 4x2 across the floor and said to the guys, walk across, and everyone walked from one end to the other.
Yeah.
And he picked the 4x2 up and he put it up on top of 2 step ladders, and not one person would do it.
Yeah.
He said, it's the same task, but the environment has changed.
Exactly.
It was a huge thing for me as a coach. I took a lot from that, you know. And
100%. And people get confused with Chael as whatever they seem to think he is. He knows the game inside out, and as far as mindsets go, I took a lot from him because he was current and real, and I watched it unfold. You know. Yeah.
What? Oh, somebody's knocking my door. 1 sec. Oh.
No worries, Jake. We better take the podcast over here now. Don't know what to say.
Sorry, my missus.
I held the floor for whatever it was, Jake. Oh, he's gone again.
Right. What? So, what's your not your involved? What's your favourite fight you've ever watched?
It's weird. You'd be surprised how much boxing I've always watched. MMA fight.
Keep it MMA.
Shogun versus Henderson, the first one.
Yeah, great fight.
UFC 139.
What was your thing for you for that?
It was a bit like a Rocky film with Endo. No, with Shogun. The way Shogun took a paste in and then he come back and he nearly nicked it off him. That fight had everything. And it was at the time where I watched it live and I was a kid. And it just they were superheroes to me then. They were absolute, they were just looking at Mauricio Shogun was like looking at God. And then Hendo was like looking at Captain America. Do you know what I mean? It was one of them, it was just, that fight had everything as well. I think that's got to be the top one.
I met Dan Henderson. He was at, what's it called? It's always at the NEC. There's a big
Birmingham.
Yeah, there's a big show every year where all the bodybuilders come and
Body Power, is it?
Yeah, the Expo.
Yeah.
You actually always have a store there, and I was walking around and there was a couple of big queues, and Paul Kelly was there. He was in the UFC at the time.
Yeah,
I think it was Hathaway.
Yeah,
and there was queues of people queuing up to have their photographs and autographs.
Yeah,
and I've had a little look and I've walked around the corner and I've come and I've stopped and I've looked at this merchandise store. And I look and literally as far as you and I are on the screen, and Henderson sat there on this stool. So I took a double take and he goes, "You okay, man?" I go, oh, you buddy? I said, can I get a photograph? He goes, yeah, that's what it was. He was like around the corner. Nobody knew he was there. So I was with Cal Prosser. I give Cal my phone, and I've still got the photograph now saved on Facebook. But I've then gone off and I've like gone to everybody. Dan Henderson's round the corner, guys. You want a photograph? And it was an influx of people on him then. But they would just sat in this merchandise store. I can't remember the name of it. What was the name of his brand that he was always sponsored for? Affliction. It was an Affliction store. Yeah, it was. So I remember meeting him there. And that was quite a surreal moment. Right, Dana White calls you in. He says, right, Oban, you're going to be matchmaker for the day. You've got an unlimited pot of money. Who would you match? And it can be past or present. What fight would you have loved to have seen? 2 fighters.
It's weird. That's a tough one. You'd have to... I wouldn't want to see GSP fight. But obviously he's the best. But if I was to see like a war, past or present, Nick Diaz in his prime against, I would say, imagine if Conor McGregor at featherweight at the time, and then Nick Diaz when he was in Strikeforce could somehow fight.
Yeah,
because then obviously Nick, I haven't touched on Nick. Nick was a massive inspiration for me. I just took what I could from everyone, but the way he was talking shit as he was fighting, And the way he put 70%, 60% on his punches and just pop, 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 pop.
And that pace.
Because then I thought he's a cardio machine, and I'd be sparring and kickboxing and gassing out, swinging. And then I thought, right, I'm just gonna touch him there, boom, 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 and then I just smash everyone because eventually they get tired. So I took that. I just thought if only he could be a bit more technical. And then McGregor come along, and he was like a technical Nick Diaz who was walking forwards. Do you know what I mean? Then 200, but that'd be a brilliant fight, I think.
Can you imagine how Diaz would have reacted if he'd ever fought Chael?
Oh. I don't know.
I can't even see him get into the fight.
No, they wouldn't get to the fight. No, Chael would just do his classic thing, double leg. I think Chael would probably, I don't know, Chael would get subbed in that fight, I think.
Yeah. So, if you could fight anybody, past or present, what would be your dream fight?
I would say Khabib, but then there's so many fighters in history.
Let's take away present. What about in the past? Any fight in the past?
That's better. BJ Penn, Nick Diaz again. I think BJ Penn maybe in his prime, or probably Nick Diaz in his prime, maybe.
Nate or Nick?
Nick.
Nate
is, everyone loves Nate, and he's done brilliant things, but Nick, 2009, 2010, he was the man.
You look at some of his high-profile wins, like the Gogo Platter in Pride.
Gomi, wasn't it?
You know, and Gomi at the time was regarded as arguably one of the best in the world pound for pound. You know, he was unbeaten for a number of years. And then he had that taken off him because they'd found cannabis in the system, which is ridiculous.
He had that much in his system, he would have smoked it on the day.
Yeah, but you would take steroids in Pride, you know. Yeah. I've said this on a couple of podcasts. I've spoken to guys in when we've been away with the UFC, and they've said, like, when they've had fighters fighting Pride, it says in big letters, you will not be tested for steroids. So it's encouraging you, like, fuel the fire, get it into you. Yeah. But the Takanori Gomi, for me, the greatest one ever was the Paul Daly fight.
Oh yeah.
You know, Paul Daly at the time just come out of the UFC, not because he wasn't good enough, but because of the incident with Kosher, and was feared, you know, as probably the most dangerous striker in that division on the planet. And what does Nick go and plants his feet and says, let's have it out there on the feet, you know? Where he'd have probably took him down and subbed him quickly, wouldn't he? You know, Jiu-jitsu, but just tough guy, brilliant. You often wonder if he'd had somebody, because he fell out with Cesar Gracie, you know, as we were saying earlier about the relationship of having a bit of faith and confidence in the decision making of your coach. If someone got hold of him, how good could he have been? I know. That's the thing, and he was obviously not. He was obviously. I think he genuinely must have a weed problem. How much weed he's obviously putting away. I've seen a recent video. I've seen the interview. He's like just rambling on, blah, blah, but you can see he's in his own head a lot, and I think he's a lot like Tyson in the way he peaked early. You've only got a certain amount of years, I think, where you can be your best in this sport, and he definitely peaked early. Diaz, he shouldn't have gone any longer than he did, really, at all. Yeah. Who's the most talented? Who's the most talented fighter you've trained with? Oh, I've trained with. God, I've trained with a fair. I won't say anyone in our gym because there's picking sides, isn't it? I'll go up. What do you mean by talent? Well, you've grappled, you've swallowed. Thought, Jesus Christ, that person is absolutely mustard. Yeah, absolutely mustard. I'll go in the gym. I think when you said about athleticism, Owen Parry. Yeah. It wouldn't even be someone who's like who's like, say, top, someone just with that, like, we're like, what? How is he doing that sort of thing? I think but it's too hard. That's too hard because obviously you've got Tank, Brett. Yeah. You've got I sparred Leon Edwards. Obviously Marshman.
that's a tough pick because everyone.
You're fortunate that you're surrounded and
exactly.
You've got quality around you, so it is. Maybe it is an unfair question to ask.
Yeah.
All right, let's flip a little bit. Who in the gym, as an amateur youngster, is I'm not going to say him, but who I think, but for the public, who should they be looking out for? Who do you think has got the potential to be a top tier fighter
in our gym? Yeah, Kane Darcy.
Yeah, agreed. Kane. I think Kane's going to be terrifying.
He's a machine. The thing is, I know his dad quite well, and his dad is absolutely huge. So I know Kane is going to be. He's going to be massive, and I've seen him since he's working up in Asda. I've seen him since his head's out here already.
He put him out. Remember, he was due to have a fight, wasn't he? And and I think he had the fight in the club, and then like a week later, he's put 5K on.
Yeah, honestly, his head is cooked. But
yeah,
Kane, Johan, what is he, 14 or 15?
14. I've never. I try not to fall into that trap because, as I said, I've been running the gym now since 2008, and there's been lots of youngsters. I can name Ethan Broderick, Owen Thomas. Where lads have gone, do you know what? This is a talented kid. I think winning everything. Turning up for. This kid could really be, but they at 15, 16, 17, 18, and they fall. So I never read. But with Johan, he's 14, and I'm going to go out on a flight and I'm going to say he will fight in the UFC. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well.
He's got the mindset at 14.
Yeah.
His mindset and his mental toughness is terrifying for a 14-year-old lad.
Yeah.
I think he is going to be a big star, and he's going to be a big lad as well.
I'd never mean this in an arrogant way, but he reminds me a lot of myself.
Of yourself, yeah.
I'd never say that in a way like I'm saying, he's gonna, he'd be lucky to be anything like me, because he's a brilliant talent. But the way he's applying himself, and I drop comments to him all the time, and I was fortunate to watch my people older than me grow up, and especially in my gym, going down different paths. And I thought, hang on, boys, we all had this dream as kids. But now you're giving up and you go off smoking weed down this, you've gone into this, you're doing this and that. And I do drop things to him and be real with him and say, don't go, because obviously he knows all about drugs and all that. I say, you stay away from them. If you don't overtrain yourself so you get sick of it. Do it as you enjoy it, and you'll never stop, and you won't go off on tangents like a lot of young talents do.
Yeah, he's talented and well-rounded. I watch him wrestle with men. And and he's having his way with them, and he's 40. And also we give him an awful amount of stick. And it bounces off him, and it's such a good environment to character build the kid. Do you know what I mean? His old man Ricky gives him hell, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like his old man like Ricky said, have a free reign, let him have it, and he doesn't bat an eyelid. So he's got anyone else. So we got Kane, we got Johan,
we got Kane. I've been around so long. Kenzie, he's another one if he sticks at it. Amateurs. God, my mind has gone bloody blank now. Yeah, I'd say that them three they're obviously sticking in my head. Them three, because I've seen them, watched them train.
We got Levi as well. I think Levi,
of course, yeah.
Levi's approach to training is second, and then I think
definitely.
He's not very big, but his top pressure game now is coming on. He's working his privates with Daddy and Heem regular every week. Kenzie is one. He had a little bit of a slip up, stayed from the gym, but.
That's what happens when you get that.
Yeah, but I had a firm conversation with him back in. It would have been around about September last year.
I think I heard it.
Did it?
Yeah.
And his reaction is what I wanted. He's been back in the gym fight, and to be honest, I roll with him sometimes, and you think he's 80 odd K. You'd never think he was 61K same day.
Strong, stubborn little. He?
Doesn't say a lot, but he's tough as well, and he's striking. Like before that last show got cancelled, I was watching him in a fight camp, and the boys in his group, his striking is very, very similar to McGregor.
Yeah.
He's very loose, he's in and out.
He is like that, isn't he? Yeah. He's definitely he's obviously watched a lot, isn't he? And he's inspired by it.
Yeah, I think we got a good group of youngsters there.
Definitely.
They got the conveyor belt, likes of Marshman's 30 now. He's only got so many years left. Then you got your Brett and Tank, 24. What's Brett? 26.
Yeah, about that.
They've got quite a long time. Then you've got yourself. You've got a long time.
Yeah.
But say, for example, for yourself, 12 years time, you might go. 10 years. 8 years. You might go. I'm 30. I've won everything. I'm a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Knocking on your head. Then you've got your Levi's, your Kenzies, your Ellis's, your Keens coming through. Then as soon as they start to get good pros, then you'll have Johan coming through as a novice.
Exactly, yeah.
The future's really bright at the moment. And even like you don't see, I'm going back to like the kids' classes. At the last Interclub, Harvey Tucker, Liam Davis, Shea Dan.
I've had a little spar with Liam.
Yeah, all giving really good accounts of themselves. So I think we're in a good place. Do you know what I think of ourselves? Sometimes a little bit like the Man United team of the 90s, where we've got top level guys, but also the youth. It's in place now. We've got a fantastic system where the kids will come through, do their BJJ with Levi, Colin, and Truth. Then they go on, and when they hit a certain age, start doing their MMA with Tank and the kids.
Yeah.
Then they can start joining in with the adults classes. And I just think we've got the system in place now and the blueprint to really do well.
They're very lucky kids to have the system they've got, really are.
How many, you imagine, Marshman 30, but a Marshman at 18 years of age, if he had a couple of pro UFC fighters already,
means everything. Yeah, exactly, yeah. We've got it easy. And
the facility.
Exactly.
So it's all good. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I'll be 27. I think UFC champion.
Yeah.
At least probably defended it a couple of times. Any
aspirations to become different weights as well?
I think I won't have a choice eventually. I'm getting to that point now.
What are you weighing at the moment?
87.
Easy work for 70 then.
Yeah, so it's not bad, but I mean, I ain't like I'm I don't know. I'm not that lean in the face probably, but
yeah,
I'm not that fat for an 87 kilo person, and I just it's just natural. It's mad. After a diet, I look at something and put weight on. It's nuts. It instantly goes back on.
But you still keep your 6-pack, which is a bonus.
Yeah, that's the main thing, isn't it?
All right. Outside of fighting, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
Outside of fighting, well, 10 years. Hopefully, I'll have a family, and I want to go down a couple of business ventures. I want to be like I think there's more to life than being a fighter, maybe. Well, no, there definitely is, and I think I want to do my bit, but I maybe have my own gym. But I wouldn't want to have my own gym, but be the head trainer of it. I'd want other people to be in charge of it, and I wouldn't want to force any, because I never had someone forcing their way of fighting on me. I've made my own path, so I would want anyone in my gym or whatever to do the same. I'd try and make it as similar as I had it.
Before we wrap it up, I want to just touch on Lloyd. Like Lloyd's joined the gym recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how old is Lloyd?
24. Just turned 24.
And to be honest, I've had this conversation with Carl. There's a lot of characteristics. He's a different personality. He's very quiet, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I say that. He's not, but then he is.
You probably, as a brother, see a different side to what we do as coaches.
Yeah.
But he is somebody, again, who's come in and straight away I'm watching him with the wrestling and the grappling, thinking, he's like a bloody sponge.
Yeah.
You can have it out on the feet. You can see has Lloyd got the potential to be a good level pro if he put his mind to it?
Yeah. That's exactly what, and I say this, and Lloyd will tell you himself, is we've always trained together since we were little kids. But then as he's a couple of years older than me, as we got older and we obviously 16, 17, you know, some kids do this, some kids do this. And I watched Lloyd at times do this. And then I've obviously just looked at him and go, oh, don't do that. But that's where I've been lucky to watch and basically learn on any mistakes, if any, that he's had. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's where, if he puts his mind to it, he's the same as me. He's got the same, near enough the same miles on the clock as me. But again, it comes down to having the head for it. And we've been through a lot, me and Lloyd, and we've had to move house God knows how many times and adjust to our surroundings. We haven't always fitted in. Yeah. I think it's been a lot for us, and I think I don't know quite how I've got this far with what I don't know. It's not what I've done; it's the mindset that I've managed to get hold of through all of it, and hopefully I can rub off him now, even though he's my older brother. Hopefully he can get a bit off me now.
Also with Lloyd, I'd say that he's got his mojo back because he's been training every night of the week, isn't he? You know,
exactly. Yeah,
he's not missing set, and again, like I've said to you earlier on in the interview, it's finding the right place, the right team, the right coaches for you.
And he's struggled, he really has.
And I think he's found it with us. And I pulled him to the side because he's out with your last fight. And I pulled him and say, "Has your aspiration to fight?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Listen, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, but if you listen and learn with us, we're going to turn you into a top fighter." Yeah. And, you know, I really believe how nice would that be to have two brothers in the UFC?
Exactly. That's been our dream since we were 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
It's been me and him since day one. And for a couple of years, he obviously we drifted, but now he's back. I think, fuck the Diaz brothers. That's what I'm saying.
The Elliott brothers. And for me, you know, I'm ruthless with ambition as well, because we've got so many records. Marshman was the first fighter from Wales to be signed for the US. The first fighter to win a Fight of the Night bonus from Wales.
Yeah.
First team to get two fighters from the same team.
Yeah.
Into the UFC. The first team in Wales to get two fighters to win the 50K.
Yeah.
The first father and son coaching setup from the UK to get into the UFC. Yeah. We've now got three fighters with Brett have joined the team.
Yeah.
You know, so we got 4 Welsh guys in the UFC, 3 of them training under the same roof.
Yeah.
How nice would it be to have yourself and Lloyd, the first brothers from Wales or the UK?
That's the dream since.
And it's a dream that can be realised.
I know. Exactly.
It's the same as anything. Our Jack done an interview on a podcast I listened to last week, and when he said about advice, and I thought it was brilliant what he said. He says, to any youngster getting into the sport, don't chase the money, don't chase the fame, chase the dream. And the dream,
that's exactly it.
You know, and everything else comes with it. Everything else.
But the thing is with us, and I think with me and Lloyd, is where we are really set apart is as far as like struggles go, mentally, the dreams of not in a sinister way. That's what's kept us alive. That's what's kept us going, because without it, we've never got on in a school setting, even in a work setting. We did just thoroughbred fighters through and through, me and him, and that's all that's kept us going to get this far. And now we've got through the hard bit, in my opinion. All of this is just downhill. And
And I think it'll be good for the two of you as well now, training, you know, because you helped out with your camp last time.
Yeah.
As you said, you might be the younger brother, but he obviously idolises you. I can tell that when I watched him watching you fight.
Yeah.
You know, so if he puts his mind to it, he's somebody I'm excited about as well.
That's all it is, and I think he's got to start treating me like an older brother now. I think, and
you're a bit from all the times he's filled you in. I remember you telling us
all the times he's filled me in.
When your mum had to ring the police because the two of you. Tell us about that before we finish.
Yeah, I was in my bedroom, sort of thing. He's giving it this, giving it that. I've come out and thought I've had enough of this, sort of thing. I've got a few fights now. I can handle myself. He's kicking off like this. I'm stood in the doorway of my my bedroom, and we've had this and that, and I've just gone, that's it, I'm going to have him. Overhand right over the top, right? Chinned him. He's come back. He's took it square on the chin. Come back. He's tackled me through my chest of drawers, snapped my bed, and all the rest of it. We're fighting. We're rolling down the stairs. My mother puts her head through the door, goes back out, and we go, oh, fucking hell, where's she gone now? Next thing you know, police turn up. Yeah, and we were like, oh. And then it would be a case of, like, if she'd come in the house and one of us has got a black eye or a cut lip or anything like that, or a bruise anywhere, she'd on about ringing the police because she think we've been fighting, but we might not have even been fighting. You just got to, yeah, every time. I got bloody hell. We've got a pretty even record, I think, with fights. But yeah, if you put mine and his fights on top of my fighting record, I've had a fair few. Yeah.
Brotherly love.
It is, yeah.
Right. Before we wrap up, tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Oban Elliott, all one word, on Instagram and Twitter. I think I got an underscore on Twitter, but Facebook as well. Same Oban Elliott, and yeah, I think if anyone knows anything, they're following me by now. That's how it is. Right.
Well, fingers crossed, buddy. We'll be back in our gym sooner rather than later, and
exactly
we can get back to a bit of normality. I don't know if you want to start dieting now if you're 87 and aim for.
I'm still running. I'm still ready. I just have to
aim for 79, 80k when you come back. That would be nice.
I'm still fit and ready. I'll take a fight now. I have to be a welterweight or a middleweight fight, but I'm ready to go now. As Big John said.
Great stuff.
I'm ready now.
All right. Well, thanks. How long have we been? We've gone an hour and a half, so I think that's the longest one we've done so far, Oban. So hopefully, like I said, we won't be in this for much longer.
No, we won't be long, Jake, now.
And we'll be back to doing what we do best, right? I'll catch you soon, buddy.
Yeah, cheers, Jake.